Why intentions without systems fail. Turn goals into consistent action. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. This show is proudly sponsored by Rumble and Rise. To find out more about joining Rumble and Rise, head on over to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. Let me guess. You've set a goal before. One or two, right? Maybe hundreds. Maybe it was to exercise more, eat better, finally prioritize your sleep, go back to school. You're motivated. You had intention, you had clarity. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, few months, you did it. And then life happened. And the goal quietly slipped away. Does that sound familiar? I think we've all had examples of that in our life. Not with every goal we've set, but certainly with certain goals. Intentions are beautiful. Intentions to change our life are a beautiful thing, but they're not enough. Without a system, they're really just wishes. And wishes don't create change, but systems do. So what is a system? I think it's important we clarify that. A system is the structure that makes a behavior automatic or easier to lean into initially, because a behavior is not really going to become automatic until you've practiced it for a while. I know a lot of us have been sold on this idea that behavior change is about willpower or motivation. And again, I think those things can help. I'm not anti-willpower or anti-motivation. I know a lot of people in the wellness industry talk about those things like they're non-existent, they don't matter. But what I do think is more important than willpower or motivation is design. How are you designing your life? How are you designing your days? It's the difference between saying, I want to work out more. Great intention, kind of vague, but a great intention. It's a difference between saying that and actually putting your workout clothes by your bed so they're easy to put on in the morning. Blocking time in your calendar so you've already decided when it's going to happen. And having a backup plan for the days that you just didn't get to it when you thought you could because something came up. It's having a plan B. It's interesting. I think I mentioned a few episodes that we recently got a new puppy. And like all puppies, our new puppy, her name is Tilly, is a wild child. She's full of energy, she's curious about everything, and completely unaware of household rules or even good behavior, right? None of that's in her brain. She has no training in any of that. And I really want a well-behaved dog, but I can't just wish for that. I can't just hope that she's going to figure it out. So as soon as she arrived, I got to work setting up systems. A consistent feeding schedule, a designated potty routine, specific spots for toys and sleeping, training sessions at the same time every day. I created an environment and a structure that is making it easier for her to understand how to be a part of this household and how to have what we would call good behavior, right? And it's working. I mean, this puppy is 9 weeks old and she's a total rock star. Does she still have accidents? Absolutely. Is she still chaotic? Absolutely. But every day, she's getting a little bit easier to manage because we've set up systems to help make it easier for her to behave in certain ways. She knows what to expect. She's learning to know what to expect. And that consistency has made her behavior almost inevitable. And your health, your happiness kind of works the same way. You can't just wish to be happier and healthier, be stronger, or have more energy. I mean, lots of people spend their whole life wishing that. But the truth is, if you're really serious about living that experience, you have to create the environment and structure that helps you to make it happen. Again, your brain has so much going on all the time, lots of decisions to make. You already have lots of responsibilities. So how can you make it almost easy to do the thing you said you would do. The magic isn't the goal, right? I always say this, like, it's really not about the outcome. Goals are great. Goals are fun. But it's really in the tiny, repeatable actions that make a goal inevitable. That's your system. That's your structure. So if you've been frustrated with yourself for not following through lately, stop. It's not a character flaw, but it probably is something around a missing system or even a misaligned system. And once you remedy that, it starts getting a lot easier to show up on the regular. I really feel like this is such a huge part of the work that I do with my clients. I have a whole chapter in the book about organizing yourself, right, for success. And that is all about systems and strategies and making decisions in advance, which we've talked about before. So my recommendation is ask yourself, what is the smallest action I can take every single day that moves me towards whatever your goal is? Just pick one. I know I always say that, but it's so important. Just pick a place to start. Right? What's the smallest action I can take? And then how can I make that action almost a no-brainer? Right? So if the goal is, I really want to improve my relationship with food, amazing. So the thing that you commit to is maybe planning your food the day ahead, so you're not so distracted by all the options in the world. Well, when are you going to create that plan? How might you be able to make the plan easier to implement? Could you prepare some things in advance? Could you remove sugar from your house? Could you make things less visible so you're less tempted to consume them? Those are systems. Those are strategies that are really helpful. Removing obstacles is a big piece of this because there's a lot of obstacles to behavior change. There's a lot of distractions to behavior change. So if we can shut out that noise, it gets a lot easier to show up. So intentions set the direction, but systems are what actually get you there. So today, consider maybe just one system you could put into place to make the action or the behavior you're committed to easier to follow through with. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.